everybody. I want to welcome you to today's Fireside Chat. We have had a couple of small technical difficulties, so we are recording today and posting, and we are hoping to get that resolved by next week. We are very excited to be going ahead this week because we do have a very special guest. April Young is joining us from Camp Maple Leaf. For those of you who are new to the military community or maybe new to Petawawa and haven't heard from April about Camp Maple Leaf, they have some incredible programs there for military families that we are going to hear more about. Before we start, I just wanted to sort of talk about Fireside Chat itself. We have been bringing these Fireside Chats to you for almost a year now. During COVID time, since we've closed our doors, we have decided that since you can't visit us, we are going to come visit you in your living rooms, on your screens, and just to talk to you about the programs that are still available that you can access, but also putting a spotlight on some of our community partners and some of the folks that are offering some great services for military families to make sure that you know about them. And know how you can access them. And Camp Maple Leaf is one of those partners who's agreed to come and join us and talk about her programs and the things that are available to military families. As always, Claudia Beswick is here. She's the executive director of MFRC, and April Young is here from Camp Maple Leaf, and she's going to do a little bit more of an intro later on. But before we start, Claudia, the government has made some announcements last week. Some more things are opening up, and we are green in Renfrew County. Do you want to talk about what that means for the PMFRC?
Right. So the lockdown has been lifted, and we are going to resume our services at the stage 3 level where we were at before Christmas and before the lockdown. So what that means, we're going to do this in a slow process. The Northside office at 1016 Regal Buteau Avenue is going to be open again for services. Natasha and Angel, which I believe you met them last week, we'll be happy to answer any of your questions and provide any information that you're looking for. Just a reminder though, if you are coming to the office inside, you will need to wear your mask and you will need to complete the screening paperwork that is required. Deployed families can continue to drop off the packages for their loved ones. You can drop them off in the building. While we were in lockdown, we had the touchless process where you can drop your parcels off on the trolley, which is located outside. We're going to keep that going just in case families want to just drop and run and they don't really have time to go in. You can do that. The Natasha and Angel will monitor that and bring them in. That way they don't have to fill out the screening form. The rolled brown paper and the custom forms were going to be in a container on top of the trolley, so feel free to grab that if you need it. Whichever option you choose, just please remember to include your contact number on the parcel. That way, if there's anything else that's required, someone can reach out to you to let you know. If you're a new family to Petawawa, pop in and see us at the Northside office. There's a lot of information that the girls can go over with you. You can check out the Welcome to Petawawa guide on our website. We have so much to offer in the Welcome to Petawawa package as well. So if you want to learn more about Petawawa and what supports are available for you and your family specifically, you can also reach out to the girls and set up a virtual call, and they'll be more than happy to connect with you and let you know what is out there and available. Our Employment Service Office in Petawawa is also open by appointment. So if you want to meet with one of the coaches, work on your resume, or just look for information, give them a call. They'll set up a time for you to go in and you can set up an in-person meeting. You can also check out their website. You can browse for jobs, have a look at some of the interesting workshops coming up, that sort of thing. So reach out if that's of interest to you. The good news, Miss Sue, Miss Crystal have been diligently working on the reopening of Kitty College. And although it will look a little bit different just because of the public health requirements and all of the new processes in place, we are very happy to announce that Kitty College will reopen on Monday, the 1st of March. So that's good news for us. They've been working really hard on that. We're also working on plans to restart the porch pickup initiative. So Julie and her team really dedicated to getting that going. Hope to have more information on dates and timings and how that process will happen, probably next week, I think. Staff are primarily still working from home. We're still not able to provide in-person programming and events yet, but as we open up more and more, we'll continue to offer updates through our Fireside Chats as well as through all of our other social media platforms. And I think that's it for now.
So Claudia talked about a lot of things there, morale mail and some contact information. So when we upload this video, we're going to put all of that in the comment section. So all of those links will be there. You don't have to do a lot of looking around. Also, we are going to be sharing the Facebook page for Camp Maple Leaf, so you can keep in touch with them, some of the videos and contact information. So if we talk about a telephone number or an email or a link to a resource, don't worry if you didn't catch it, just check the comment section and that's all going to be there. So it's nice and easy to find. April, COVID-19 and the restrictions, it's meant a lot for the PMFRC, but I can imagine it's meant also quite a bit for you and the folks who are working on preparing camps. Do you want to talk about how camp might look a little bit different this year because of COVID?
Sure thing. Well, as all of you know, first of all, hi, I'm April. And if any of you have campers who already come to the camp, you may also know me as Calypso. That's my camp name. So if there's any kids out there. Yeah, so, well, let's take it back a year. So last May 19th, and I know the exact date because it was my birthday when Doug Ford announced that there would be no camps in Ontario for sleepover camps for the last summer. So the camps were closed down, we didn't run last summer a program. We did our mailing funvelope program last summer, but moving into this summer, we are very hopeful for a whole bunch of reasons that camp is going to happen. So first of all, I should point out that nothing today is of any certainty. Things can change on a dime, as we all know. But let's start with one key thing, that if you, by the end of this, and you're convinced that Camp Maple Leaf is probably or is the best place on the planet to bring your children, and you do sign them up, you do the application for them, all you'll be asked to do is put down a deposit of $155. We'll talk about the fees and stuff later. But the thing is, it's completely refundable, no matter what. That's always been the policy at Camp Maple Leaf, especially being a family in the military. There's a lot of unpredictability as well, just in that alone. So we're respectful of that. And if up until the last minute you need to pull out for whatever reason, you don't need to justify it. We just give you your deposit back. So let's start with that, with the uncertainty. All we're doing now is holding a spot, and we're hoping and we have every indication that it will open. So what we are being told, so we're part of a bigger organization, like an umbrella, called the Ontario Camps Association. And there's hundreds of camps who have this designation, this certification that says we meet hundreds of standards and we're a safe, fun, reputable camp, right? Now, one of the perks of being part of this organization is that there is a task force with the Ontario Camps Association that is sitting at the table with the government health officials that make these decisions, that know what's going on with the latest. And they are all working together so that camp can open across the board and open safely. Right? So under COVID. So we are being told by the Ontario Camps Association that it is very hopeful right now, with everything they know, that there will be sleepover camp this year. So we're holding on to that, and that is the message we're receiving. And with that, we're expecting a whole whack of best practices to come down from the Ontario Camps Association that we will incorporate into our already designed manifesto that we have come up with to make sure that that our island, and we are an island, so both figuratively and literally, we can control what happens on that island. And we have so many things in place that if camp was tomorrow, with the way that COVID-19 is now, how to keep everyone safe. Most of it will have to do with, a lot of it will have to do with cohorting, which camps, at least Maple Leaf, we're already cohorted naturally. It just means making those cohorts tighter, and that would be the cabin group where they sleep, they would eat in their cohorts. We are very fortunate enough, if you see, let's see if I can move, there we go, I'll be the weather girl. If you can see on our island that I'm standing in front of, there is see that big beige roof, that grayish roof? That's actually an open air gazebo that coincidentally we have that would fit more than twice the size of our camp with spread tables. So to give you an idea, we have this open covered gazebo right next to the blue roof that you see beside it, which is our lodge. So we have more than enough room on this island to social distance, to keep cohorts, and we have more than enough activities to keep everyone safe. And already our head staff team, sort of our camp middle management group of counselors, have been working on creative ways to be able to, if camp was tomorrow and in order to keep it safe, to be able to still provide the fun and friendship that we do with the COVID twist. So as an example, we're talking about, how do you do a play? We do a musical theater production at the end of every week. Well, how do you have kids from different cohorts put it on? Well, the answer is you don't. So what we might, and this is just an idea that I'm sharing with the group, but it may or may not happen. But what I'm saying is, this is the kind of things we're thinking. So we're thinking, well, what if every cabin gets their own scene? And then it's theater in the round, and nobody has to move, and you get to see in a big circle the play move from group to group. So we're right now thinking out of the box, which is what camp people do best, and using all of our creative collective brains to say, we can do this. It will be as safe as humanly possible to make it. And the nice thing is about the whole military culture, I would have to say, is that it is a culture where everybody wants to follow the rules. This is not a camp where rule following doesn't happen. On any normal day there, if you say hands up and quiet, the whole lodge of over 100 people are quiet in 20 seconds. It blew me away my first summer working with military kids, because I've been a camp director for many years, and everybody does what they're supposed to do. And so this is just natural for them. We plan to color code cohorts, so we visually have a visual that the red doesn't go near a blue, kind of like we do on the island games. So we're getting creative. We're going to be working with the healthcare professionals. We have our own team of healthcare professionals as well that are going to go over this every step of the way. So by the time that we have camp, we'll be ready to go. So does that make sense? So we have done as much as we can to every single moment as it changes, and we adapt accordingly.
Absolutely. It's hard to plan when things are changing, but those plan Bs and plan Cs are always, it's nice to know that they're in place. Claudia, April talked about the military culture and Camp Maple Leaf and how it's associated with the military. PMFRC has been a partner of Camp Maple Leaf for a while. And can you talk about how partnerships like these benefit our families?
You know, MFRCs really work within their communities to raise awareness about all types of services and programs that are available to military families. We can't do it alone. Collectively, many of the organizations that we collaborate with have the same shared values. Working together really provides families the opportunity to integrate into the community and develop a variety of support networks for their family and what suits them best. So we collaborate locally and nationally with various partners, and we share these initiatives like what we have with Camp Maple Leaf. So, you know, we've been working with Camp Maple Leaf, I think, over 3 years now, April.
I'd say 5 even.
5 years?
Yeah. Time flies when we're having fun. Right.
Okay. Yeah. And our collective outcomes really are to provide great services to address the unique stressors and barriers that military families deal with on an ongoing basis. And that military family includes the kids and the children. So in order for us to be successful, we really need to extend our reach and our impact. Like I said, we've worked with Camp Maple Leaf for a lot longer than I thought, which is really great. It's blended in well. They've come to our Garrison Day. They've presented to the staff team. We've had a couple of our social workers participate during the camps. So it's been a really good collaboration of efforts. It's been a great experience, and we get really good feedback from the families and from the staff that have been there, that have participated over the last few years. So really wonderful stories. And I think Camp Maple Leaf, like a lot of the summer camp programs that are available to the families, have made an impact. And it's really great to see the success and the growth that the sessions have expanded. They're offering more opportunities over the last few years. So thank you, April. You know, it's really great working with you, and I can't really wait to see all the fun, exciting things that Camp Maple Leaf will do this summer, especially given, you know, the pandemic and all of the other things that are going on. And at the end of the day, I know those kids will be having the time of their life.
So before we hand it over to April to talk about camp, she has asked us to share a video and to show you what it's like. We can't bring you to camp, but we can show you what camp looks like a little bit through this video. So we are going to show you this, and we're also going to share the link on Facebook so you can see it later on.
M is for camp, M is for camp, P is for camp, can't make believe. This island's your land, this island's my land, friendships that follow to your own homeland, no matter where you're from, to Pigeon Lake you'll come, Camp Make Believe for you and me. We raise our flag with pride, our friends all by our side, from bases east and west, our campers are the best, from the season center to camp, stick together, Camp Maple Leaf for you and me. Whether it's Camp LPO, or Kids of a Hero, or friends from About Face, you sure found your place. Welcoming Camp 3, 2, 1. The good times have begun. Camp Maple Leaf for you and me. This island's your land. This island's my land. Friendships that follow to your own homeland. No matter where you're from, to Pigeon Lake you'll come, Camp Maple Leaf for you and me. With fun and memories, and trying out new things, personal growth brings so many great things, a sense of belonging to a unique family, Camp Maple Leaf for you and me. This island's your land, this island's my land, friendships that follow to your own homeland, no matter where you're from, to Pigeon Lake you'll come, Camp Maple Leaf for you and me. Everyone! This island's your land, this island's my land, friendships that follow to your own homeland, no matter where you're from, to Pigeon Lake you'll come, Camp Maple Leaf for you and me. Everybody quiet!
Everybody good? Everybody good? Fine, everybody coming through.
Now that is a tough act for you to follow, April. A lot of kids look like they're having a really good time there and a lot of really great memories. And you looked a little bit nostalgic, like you were anxious to get back to that island as you were watching those kids.
Yes.
So tell us more about Camp Maple Leaf. We'll pass it over to you and you can sort of walk us through and show us a little bit more and talk about the camps that are available.
Great. Well, I will say, first of all, that we had kids taking the bus in from all over Ontario, from the military bases everywhere. And this year, actually coming in, hopefully, too, from all across Canada. We've already had mainland BC join us and Calgary join us. And it's really neat how far scoping. And I'm pointing this out because I will say that Petawawa, though, has the most buses filled with children every single week. So I'm just saying that you got a lot of kids there. And if you are from Petawawa base, chances are you're going to know a lot of people there. So, and if you're new, then you're going to meet a lot of kids from the base, which is what we do. Interesting enough is that we don't usually divide the sessions by base, and that's because kids in military families could move from base to base to base. And we like to think of Camp Maple Leaf as their home base. And a lot of children actually try to plan, even if they move bases or whatever, they try to plan to come to the same session so that they can be with their friends year after year because the camp doesn't move. So it's kind of a fun fact. Okay, so I'm going to try and share my screen, which I'm, I'm getting better at. Okay. Wait, there we go. I think I'm on. Okay. Good. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good stuff. All right. So, great. I'm going to follow the slideshow because otherwise I tend to go on and on. And this will help me organized. Let's see if it works. Okay. No. Okay, wait. No, that's, it's not going to the next slide. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I don't know what happened. Okay. So our mission is to give children of Canadian military families and children living with a unique life challenge a safe, fun-filled, and life-changing summer camp experience. So you'll see soon that 4 of our sessions out of our 9 are specifically for children of military families, nobody else, right? One of our sessions is for children of military families and first responder heroes as well, and I'll go into that. And the other ones are filled with different groups of children, each with unique needs, and you may have seen some of those kids in the video as well. So that was a compilation of all of our sessions. Camp Maple Leaf is a charitable organization. It is for those who are serving and those who have served. So if you're a veteran, if you've left the military, your children are still welcome, and not so they're a part of our program as much as anybody, and we'd love them to come. Even though we've personally only been to Petawawa working with you since 2016, the camp actually has been around since 1955, and it was started by military veterans, the Canadian Council of War Veterans, which is really cool. So we're a very patriotic place. There you go. So you see the island behind me before, but this is our amazing island. And I'm going to press the play button just so you can sort of see, this is in a drone video that we did, to see the vastness. So if you can see, most of our buildings are in the main part of the island. Here, okay, so are you able to see my pointer? Yes? Oh, good. Okay, so this part of the island, right, past the buildings, that is, we have 104 acres to ourselves. But we only use, with where you see all these blue roofs, we only actually use about 1/3 of the island for programs. The rest of it is unmarked except for trails where the kids can you can walk across the island. It could take you over a half hour to walk the trails. And that's where we normally do our sleep outs or our cookouts at little campsites along that are secluded. But it is completely untouched, and it's amazing because on our island, the kids will see deer, they'll see, what are they called? Porcupines up in trees. It's really like a safari, but a nice friendly safari. There you go. And we are in the Kawartha Lakes, which is it's an island. It's in Pigeon Lake. It's called Jacob's Island if you were to look up the island on Google. So for those of you who have not been to camp, just to give you an overview of what is camp. And this is camp in general. If it's a great camp, I grew up at camp. I directed many camps before Camp Maple Leaf. And they're all about making friends and community living, leadership skills, taking risks, problem solving, hopefully free of technology, fresh air, exercise, independence, confidence, social skills, connecting with nature, learning and improving skills, conflict resolution, and being part of a family, and most of all, fun. So every camp, if it's a good camp, really, in my opinion, unless you're a computer camp, then I'm sure you're good too. But anyways, this is the idea. And this summer, especially after most kids have spent most of the summer behind a screen, I think camp in general is going to be a very, very welcomed and important thing for children's development and happiness this summer. So Camp Maple Leaf takes it a bit further. a lot further, I should say. So I said that we're a camp for kids of military families and kids of unique life challenges. But as you all know, as military families, your families do have unique life challenges. And they're different ones, but they do have them. And so our camp, specifically the reason we bring children together who have the similar unique challenges is because it also creates all of these other great things that come out of camp. So a supportive social network that kids can relate to throughout the year. So we have 6 goals at Camp Maple Leaf, and that's it. We're like, they're there for 6 days. We're going to accomplish 6 things. I'm not sure if I'll go over them, but if I don't, remind me and I'll go over them. But the number one I wanted to talk about was this supportive social network. That for us is called friendships that follow you home. So we're going to create an environment that is specifically designed where friendships will happen. Okay. My goal is that everybody goes home with at least one good friend. More probably, but one is all you need. And our entire programming is based around it. So though I said all camps have friendships come out of it, I'm not 100% sure if all camps program intentionally so that actually happens. So what does that mean? Say we have canoeing on our schedule. Well, we have a 3-to-1 ratio of staff to children. Now, the Ontario Camps Association accredited camps have an 8-to-1 ratio, okay? If you're not accredited, it could be anything. It could be 20-to-1. So right now, we're saying we have 3-to-1. Why do we have that for all children? It's so that when we're at canoe and you have one of the campers has their arm around another child and they're in a deep conversation and they're talking. Well, our staff are trained in staff training that conversation is more important than learning to canoe. So we have enough staff that one person could sit back, give them their space while the others take the kids out in the canoe with the canoeing instructor. And then when they're done their conversation, they can go ahead and join them. But that is why, for things like that, why we have such a high ratio, because it's that important to us. And in, the psychosocial world, friendship, the fancier term is peer support. And really what we do on this island, it is a fast forward peer support program where there's a saying like in all camps that a night at sleepover camp is like 7 in the city, like dog years. Okay. That's how fast everybody bonds and their family. So through this too, they realize through these conversations that happen around a campfire that they're not alone in the challenges they face. When somebody's talking about how they're yet again moving and starting at a new school, oh, me too. I won't know a soul. Me too. Why don't we text each other that day so at least we know somebody? It's that kind of conversation that comes out of this. And what this does, but it normalizes their life situations when they see other kids are doing it too. It just makes it more normal. And this provides new coping skills that they learn from each other. Some kids will say, oh, really? Well, I have these portable dressers now that I use. I don't even have to unpack. Like they share tips with each other. And through this, we are told that they increase their resilience of what they can handle. Now, to start off with Camp Maple Leaf, I talked about the 4 sessions. So on all of our camp sessions are all designed around a 5-night, 6-day program. So the children arrive on a Sunday afternoon and they leave on a Friday. So that's how that works every week. And that's great. So that's the session and those are the dates, but they're also on our website. It goes through all the dates, or you can post them. Great.
We're going to put those dates in the comments so people will be able to find them after.
Perfect. So another program that I mentioned for first responders as well as military is our Session 3 Kids of Heroes. And for this one, and this is actually one Lisa, oh gosh, what is her name?
It's Lisa Cooter.
Thank you. Her last name, all I know her is O'Hara from camp. So I'm like, I think her real name's Lisa. So O'Hara, Lisa Cooter, who I'm not sure if you can see behind my little bar. So I'm going to move my bar. Can you see her? There we go. So here, that's Lisa. So Lisa Kuchar actually designed this program. She was from the from Petawawa MFRC. We worked together in collaboration to create this program, and it's been running ever since, which is amazing. So basically what this is that everything we do, I said, is peer support. Yes, these conversations happen naturally, but for this particular program, for this particular week, the kids and these families and the families themselves are going through a little bit of extra stuff. And we want to utilize the time that we have so that we can get the most out of this peer support with them. And in order to do so, we work with the mental health professionals at various MFRCs, and we have also a representative from the York Police who is also with us. And what we do is that we have the same fun and friendship programs. The schedule almost looks exactly the same, except we pepper in programs such as we bring horses onto the island, which are healing horses, we call them. And we do a drumming program where the kids make family crests and put these feelings and their crests of all the things that they love about their families, things that stress them out, inside the drums. And then they do drum circles. And in this particular photo, we had, this is actually, I'm going to press play for a second so you can hear it. Okay, so I just gave you a little snip. I'm not sure if you could hear it, but for this evening program, what you can see is the whole camp is gathered. It's a nighttime program, like a game show. And it was basically stump the mental health professional to see if they know enough about superheroes like Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, if they know enough about their operational stress injuries, because it turns out they all have one, so that they've overcome and that they work with and they thrive with. So every time that they did not get the answer perfectly and a camper called them out on it, then they had slime dumped on their heads. So that is why they're wearing these things. So when I say that we're doing extra programming around operational stress injury, it's not like we're sitting in a circle talking about our problems. It is kid-friendly ways to bring this sort of elephant out in the room and normalize what the kids are going through. And the interesting thing that came out of this program, this evening program of the superheroes, is then at the end they ask the question, so who's your favorite superhero? And somebody puts up, I like Captain Adventure, I like whatever. We knew this would happen, and if it didn't happen, we had one of our staff who was a military family planned it, but it happened. A kid puts up their hand and says, my mom's a fighter pilot, and when there's a da-da-da-da, she swoops in on an airplane and da-da, like, right? And then all of a sudden, every hand goes up, like, right, every hand, and then they all started screaming, my dad's this, my mom's this, da 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 da, and they were screaming because it's like a realization, and in this, you know what I mean, it was a very powerful moment where you have, close to 100 kids beaming with pride that their parents are superheroes and that they're a part of this unique collective of kids, that their parents may have an operational stress injury, and it's only because they were out there fighting and protecting and supporting our communities so we're all safe. And it's like a big thank you to all those families, and the kids walk away from this and that's how they feel, because it's the truth. So and our staff are not only mostly made up of our former campers, and that is mostly military families, they grew up in these families, but all of them are in awe over the fact that we are able to provide this service to these children whose families have sacrificed so much. It's just a very powerful environment, and we're also honored to be part of it. Anyways, and so I bring all this out because if your family has an operational stress injury within it, and this is the session for you, the only criteria, you don't need any referral, nothing. If you feel that your children would take advantage of this type of support, then you just have to sign up. There's no special, any requirements. The only thing is that your children need to know why they're at that session, because it is brought up. So that's the main difference. Cool. Okay, Now, also for any of the families, or if you know of a family that might be able to benefit from this supportive program, we run a camp called Camp Scheme. This is session 8, and it's for any children, not just military, but any children across the board who have had a parent or guardian or a sibling die in the past. So basically, if they have, it's a bereavement camp. And for this camp, it's a very similar layout to the supportive programs with the horses and the drums, a very similar program because it's similar stuff we're getting out of it. But instead of having military mental health support, we're partnered with Season Center for Grieving Children in Barrie. They provide childhood grief support to the kids and to the staff to support them through these programs. So in this is our final program. So this is an interesting one where we had this tree. The tree was attached to our flagpoles for the entire week. And the flagpole, as you know, is the main part of what we do at this camp. It's the center, it's the anchor of our program. So for this program here, for the kids brought photos of their loved ones who had died, and they were laminated, and then at the beginning they hung them on this tree at the flagpole. So every morning and every night when we raise and lower the flag, their loved one is part of what we're doing, right? And so at the end of the session, we plant the tree in a secluded part of the island where nobody plays on, and this is Boomer, our program director, leading them in some song as he goes. And that's it. So this is our closing ceremony for them. Okay. So another program to point out that's available to all of our families is actually through the Canadian Critical Incident Stress Foundation. They do PTSD retreats at our island in June. And this is a family camp, right? Where it's sort of like, I like to say, like an all-inclusive resort, where it's, when I say all-inclusive resort, I would say it's like a 15 out of 10 customer service and a campy out of 10 for the site, because, you know, it's cabins. But anyways, as you can see, every family gets an island guide, which is a camp counselor to help them with free babysitting and all this stuff. You know, this is pre-COVID, so there will be a little adjustments. But anyways, we have early morning fake yoga. We call it Foga on our beautiful waterfront with music, and their kids are being looked after at their cabins. And we have game shows, and it is kind of a fun camp. Now, just to point out some of our other programs that we have at the end of the summer, in case your children may coincidentally identify with these groups, they can choose these groups as well, and we have the same funding available. And some go back and forth, you know, so meaning like they'll do one of these camps, and then the next year they might just go back to the military. So Camp Trailblazers is for children who have facial differences. Camp LPO for children of short stature. So this is children with dwarfism. Camp 321, we're starting this year for the first time, which is we're working with the Down Syndrome Association of Ontario. Sorry, thank you. And then also I went back by accident, but oh, there we are. And Camp Stick Together is for children with Rett syndrome. There you go. All right. So I do have the goals. So we talked about friendship, the same 6 goals for each session. So here they are. This is the one we talked about. Here's the bunk beds that they sleep in. Look how conveniently there's walls between those beds. Just saying. There you go. Feminine memories that last forever. Oh, and I will point out, sorry, our beautiful open air gazebo that you can see there. A sense of belonging to unique camp family, and personal growth. Try something new, can't do at home. Here's our 30-foot climbing wall. And a respect and understanding of our heroes. Some of you might know Megatron, Mike Schroner, and he comes out with his wife Bumblebee, Leia, and to inspire these kids into greatness, which is amazing. So we talked about OCA accredited, very safe, and we are so much fun. Here we go. So here's just an example of our land activities from the Toronto Blue Jays doing rookie league with us, baseball, our arts and crafts, our hockey, that we have an arena sort of that was built from our the Toronto Maple Leaf Alumni Association, which is pretty amazing. We do Indigenous programming that we work with Curve Lake Indigenous Reserve, giving us support and feedback on that, and roads. So we have a beautiful waterfront. Here is our executive director, Kim Smith, and here it looks like he's braiding this girl's hair, but he's actually taking the fish off a hook, off of the fishing rod. And fishing with sticks is one of our signature activities, and it sort of symbolizes what we are. You know, every dollar we spend goes into friendships that follow you home. We don't do things like water skiing with boat gas and activities like that. It's all activities that these children's grandparents could have done when they were at this camp in the 50s, because really that's all you need. And we put more of our resources into things like our 3-to-1 ratios. So here's our carnival and our banquet and our dance that ends every session. This looks like the Wizard of Oz. Oh. Let It Go was definitely a big banquet song throughout the whole summer. And our traditions actually date back all the way to the beginning, passed down from generations of campers on the island. So really, if we've had alumni of camp come out and say, oh my goodness, you do the same cheers, you do the same songs, and it's pretty amazing. So yeah. And so this is Sundowner. Every night ends with basically a giant talent show where the kids perform and they do songs leading the rest. The rest of the camp is gathered around the campfire in the back. And we've even learned how to do that social distance. We've got plans for it all. So here's our lodge where we have family style food. And as you can see, it is very crowded, but it won't be that crowded when we take out more than half the tables, if not all of them. So that's how that works. And you can see this girl here. You see she has these noise canceling headphones. And then beside it, you'll see that there's a pole actually I'm trying to move my thing, a pole that has headphones on it. And there's usually about 20 headphones hanging there. And the reason I'm pointing this out, right, is we do, and we have a program, we'll talk about it after, for children who have need higher level support than a 3-to-1 ratio. However, one of our training and our beliefs at Maple Leaf is that every child is an individual. And we want to provide an environment where every kid feels safe and can rock who they are. And so it's the counselor's responsibility to realize if there's a child sitting there going like this with their hands over their ears, they don't need to have a label to say it's too loud for them or they're too overwhelmed. So we've set up things like this pool of headphones where kids can just help themselves, or a staff can help themselves to this, so that they can be part of the fun without the noise. And if that's not enough and it's still too overwhelming, the children know on their own they can get up, go sit outside at a different table that's outside away from it all, where where one of our staff, who also needs to have some outdoor space, is supervising, and the children can bring whatever friends they want, because again, that's our goal, friendships that follow you home. You don't need a label to sit outside at a special table. Does that make sense? So this is why I'm pointing out this. We also can handle any allergy and food restrictions in our lodge. We are a nut safe environment, meaning we check every label that comes in and we tell parents, please don't pack them. And we have EpiPens and nurses everywhere. So there you go. So we're very safe. So the kids right now, if you can see, there are cleanup signs. So that was our cleanup song. And basically the kids actually, this plays at the end of every meal, and the kids are all cleaning up and dancing while they clean up. Everything's a program. So this is our happy staff are almost always in costumes. They're mainly university students, and some of our junior staff, we have younger staff, 17-year-olds, because they were campers who grew up through our leadership programs. And this is our very first summer when we took over, when the Tanamacoon Foundation took over the management of Camp Maple Leaf in 2015 for the opening season here in 2016. We had about 20 kids in those white shirts, and our staff outnumbered the kids. And what's wild is already session 1 and session 2 have a wait list of our military families, and we're still covered in snow. So we will be full, right across the board as we were last year. And this summer, we may be expecting, if we're allowed with cohorts, we've got the space to potentially have 100 kids per session, so which will be amazing, and we hope to fill that. So there you go. And there's our symbol of what this camp is all about. We've got our homemade disco ball on a volunteer built us this thing where we twist a string and let it untwist. And then you got our flags hanging proudly in the background. We are very fun, crazy, spirited camp with a huge sense of patriotism and respect for the fact that we are blessed to be able to do this. So that's sort of who we are. That's it. So I'll open it up to questions.
So I have a couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
You talked about the registration, that some of the camps already have wait lists.
Yeah.
We're going to put the link to register because you can register online through the website, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are there is there a hope to get on the waiting list? If you're already on the waiting list, do you have a hope of still getting in, or?
Very good point. Okay. So first of all, what I would suggest, if you're interested, right, even if you haven't talked to about it, your kids yet, doesn't even matter. Just literally go on, apply, like I said, and put down your deposit, because if tomorrow you change your mind, we'll give you your deposit back, but it holds a spot. So what you do is you pick a session that has no wait list, like session 3, 4, or 5, 3 if it's applicable, right? But you put in the comments that your first choice is session 1. Can you go on the wait list? Okay. Our wait list is very small now, like a handful or under. And almost always, if history proves itself, because of the uncertainty and the way people are moving and stuff within the military, we almost always get to our wait list. It's like a moving document, right? And Michelle Robinson, military family herself, she's our registrar. She goes by Pebbles. So she is the one who is doing all this. And she is very meticulous to make sure she goes in order of who applied by who's in what set, that they're already in the system. And then they get moved over, if that makes sense. So there's a good chance you'll still get your first choice, right? But I would apply soon, because as the days go on, they get more and more full. And she could tell me at any minute, like one of the other sessions, I think it was 5, was close to, I'm not sure, don't know. Is it 4 or 5? One was close to being full. So anyways, yeah.
You talked about deposits. What's the cost of camp?
Okay, good question. Okay, so the way that it works is, I'll start with that every child who wants to come to camp will come, just no matter what the family's ability to pay is. Okay, so we'll start with that. We are a charity, and it was the founding fathers who set that up, and we're sticking with it. Okay, so that's one of the reasons we raise money, is to be able to do this. So the way that it works is we ask everybody to contribute the $155 deposit, if they can. If they can't, they just call me and we'll figure out something, and then we have additional funding, right? But this is the easy way. So you put it down, you click yes, and you check off that you need funding. Okay, if you are unable to pay the full amount. So the full amount is $855 for the week. That includes transportation, and it includes the $155 deposit. So it's the total of $855. Okay. And anybody who does do camp will know that that's a very not-for-profit rate to begin with for a sleepover camp. So it's basically just, we get our costs. So then what happens is that every military family, no matter what your situation, is going to receive a link to support our troops when they open their application process. And Michelle sends anybody who's registered with us or applied to us, who's gotten it, they will get the link. We ask everybody to apply. So even if you might not be sure, do I meet their criteria? Because they have specific criteria of their charity, right? So the point is that apply anyways, and they will decide, right? We ask that you do that for us. So because the supporter troops is huge for us, because they do, through grants, a big part of our population is supported by them. So we ask that you do this. Now, if for whatever reason you do not get approval for support our troops, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter for you and Maple Leaf. Okay. So what that means is that means we will use our other funding sources. We have True Patriot Love funding us. We have Legions funding us in the community. We have so many different donors and private donors. So the point is we have money that we will offset this. And what basically Michelle will work with you in your own family situation to help you come up with a number that you are comfortable with paying out of the remaining $700. Every family is different, right? And has different situations. And we know that the military community really it's a village and everybody wants to contribute the most that they can. And we know this. And we also know, I've heard over and over again from, and so I'd love to make this point clear, where I will hear from military families, so I have 4 kids. I can't afford $855 per kid, but we are not destitute. We have 2 salaries. We have a nice home. We have food on the table, and I don't want to take the charitable dollar away from children who need it. Okay, I hear this all the time. And so I want to make it so clear that we do have a camp. We do run a session where we have children of local communities who are under-resourced, a separate session. But this is not what this is. The donors who give money for this program, it's a thank you to say, I want to do something for your families who have sacrificed, for your children who sacrifice so much. And so it's not a question of, can you not afford necessities or not? You're not taking away from somebody else. We have enough to go around. And basically what it is somebody saying thank you. So figure out how much you can afford. And we usually say that's based on, well, what does it normally cost you to keep your kid at home or do other programs? And everybody's different. Some are going to Wonderland and some are playing with the sandbox, and both are great, but maybe different budgets, right? So anyway, so that's what we say. And then basically you end up paying what you can.
So if you are a family from Petawawa and that support our troops application process seems a little bit onerous to you, please don't let that be a barrier to you. Our family advocacy coordinator, one of the things that she does is she works with families on this type of grant application. So if that is something that you're seeing and you're a little concerned about as one of the elements, please don't let that be a stop for you. We are going to, in the comment section, add her name and information so you can reach out to her. And the other thing that April talked about is children with additional needs. If you have a child with a food allergy or might need some additional support during camp, you can contact April directly and she can make sure that that support is going to be available during camp. So if you're concerned and you're not sure the accommodations can be made, talk to her first before you make that decision, because there's something that they can do to help you out.
Yeah, yes. And I just want to add one more thing about the registration.
Oh, sure.
Because the Support Our Troops funding is not going to affect whether or not you end up coming, I strongly suggest you apply first to us, because we're open for applications, and then worry about Support Our Troops, because no matter what happens there, that's the difference between us and all other camps. We are specifically here for your families, right? So I just want to make sure you're not waiting and then it's all full. So that's because money is not the issue for us. Okay.
So registration is open.
Yes.
We are going to share the link to the video we played at the beginning. If you want to show your kids that and show them how much fun they're going to have, that's going to be available. We're going to have the dates there and April's contact information if you want to get to her. April, thank you so much for coming and talking about camp.
Thanks for having me.
You're making me look forward to summer very, very much, looking at those pictures of those kids on the water and the lake having a good time. Summer's coming.
Yes.
Our fingers crossed. Claudia, before we leave, do you want to talk about something special that's happening at the PMFRC this week?
Absolutely. So we're starting a new campaign to challenge families to find the rainbow in their world. So it's an initiative that was inspired by a book by Michelle Robinson called The World Made a Rainbow. The story talks about looking for hope and happiness in tough times and helps kids to cope with the difficulties of staying home and missing friends and family. So it's very timely, all about dealing with those emotions. We know it's been a challenging year for everyone, and we thought what a wonderful way for the families to share this heartwarming story with their children. So in the comments section, Julie's going to provide the link of the video that shows the author reading the story. And after you hear it, we encourage you and your children to create your very own rainbows. You can place them in your window or somewhere where it's visible for all to see. And then you can head out in the community to see how many other rainbows that you can find. There will be another link, I believe, in the comments, Julie, that will tell you how you can enter to win a prize. Send us some of the pictures of your rainbows. We'd really love to share more hope and happiness with everyone by showcasing the beautiful rainbows. So looking forward to this initiative. It sounds very, very heartwarming and timely, I think.
Absolutely. So a lot to look forward to, rainbows and camp and summer and times when we can be out and be with friends and try something new. Again, April, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions for Camp Maple Leaf, we are going to put their website in the comments, and we're also going to add a link to their Facebook page. So if you want to stay on top of all the latest news and announcements from Camp Maple Leaf, that's the way to do it. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us.